When you start thinking of landlord engagement or housing, the first thing to do is get outside the box and start really thinking what housing is, and then start working with all kinds of grassroots community providers in terms of what might be available for housing. In terms of then when we are working with landlords and identifying landlords, there's a variety of ways that communities do. And a lot of it depends on the size of the communities, the amount of resources that folks have, the number of programs they have. The original models for most programs were that the assigned case manager also did the housing location. It was like you wore both hats. And one of the reasons people chose that model and liked it is because the case manager is already developing a relationship with the landlord, and the landlord liked that because it was an ongoing relationship. So there's still some programs that do that. Although what we've learned is that a social worker does not necessarily make a good landlord recruiter. Landlords have this business model. And so, we have to talk to landlords about how this program benefits them. And so what we've learned in a lot of programs then is that they've hired specific persons to do landlord recruitment. And in some communities, there might be 6 programs that all have a housing navigator is a term that's often used for it. And that person in some communities, they still end up saying, oh, they should have a social service background. And our recommendation always is no, if you're going to have somebody that what they're doing is recruiting housing, recruiting landlords, engaging landlords, they really need to either be a former landlord themselves or have expertise in real estate. And what can happen though, if you're in a community, I recently worked with a community and this was rapid housing specific to single individuals. And there were 9 programs that were working with the single individuals, and each one of them had their own housing navigator. And what was happening sometimes is the housing navigators were tripping over each other. Like, they'd hear about a landlord that was a good landlord, and then the next person would be going after that landlord, and then the next person. And you're not going to lose a landlord any more quickly than when you literally have 2 or 3 organizations trying to talk to the same landlord about something. And it sounds sort of the same, but maybe not quite, because we all still tend to be a little bit boutiquey in what we do. And so what we did in that community is that we had those housing navigators come together once a month and discuss among them, how do we share housing? Like, I have a landlord and he's got a 3-bedroom unit that he's willing to do shared housing with. And I don't have any clients right now that are willing to do shared housing. If you have them, you could do that. So while it wasn't ideal, it was at least a way to bring those housing navigators together. And then sort of the other model is where a community, the system, the continuum of care at the system level, sometimes it's under a county umbrella or a city umbrella, but they hire a housing navigation team within that organization. And then all those folks do is they just find landlords, and then those landlords are available to every single rapid housing provider in the community. And the pluses of that are that you're going to have a really robust landlord engagement, and the landlords are going to get to know you, and you could do some really great, unique ways to get landlords in. One of the things you have to watch out for and make sure happens is that there still has to be a really strong connection of what clients will fit with the units. Just because this unit's available doesn't mean that it's going to be the right unit for someone. And so you have to really have strong communication with landlords and with clients to make sure that they're connected. Whatever model you use, communication is key. And meeting regularly is key to work out all the little blips that may come along.